Can you be a little more serious?
Yo, what is up, guys? It's your favorite producer, Wow Eli, coming back with another beat breakdown, and this time it is for Holy Smoke with No Big Deal and Jon Keith, produced by myself in 1995. This beat has like a lot of little stuff that went into it, so I'm gonna try to go through it quicker than I normally do. If you aren't already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you can keep up to date with new videos that I post. If you like this video, like it, leave a comment on what you want to see next. Follow me on socials at @OhWowEli everywhere. That's Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all that stuff. So yeah, let's get into this. 1995 kind of did all the heavy lifting for the melodies on this track, and then I did most of the drums. So I'm going to show you what we started out with for the melody. I just needed something simple to go off of. I brought out this plugin called Heat Up 3, which is pretty cheap and it has a lot of sounds. So if you're starting out and you want a good plugin that's not expensive, try Heat Up 3. You might like it. But yeah, so I don't even remember what sound I picked because it's not showing me. But this was the simple melody that I came up with. So yeah, as you can tell, it's pretty basic. Even the sound itself isn't anything special. So I gave 95 that melody. He took that and he put a bunch of effects on it. He used Gross Beat, which is a stock FL plugin that you can use to chop up samples and stuff. So he took that simple thing I made and then turned it into this. Yeah, I don't even remember everything that he did on this. I was kind of like in amazement watching him work. But he basically transformed my really simple basic melody into a whole new sound, gave it a much bigger vibe. It kind of has this like atmospherical, creepy horror movie soundtrack vibe to it. He took that, and for the intro, he added this automation where it kept getting more and more distorted as it went on. This intro isn't in the version on like Spotify and iTunes and stuff, but if you watch the music video, it has this intro in it.
Wow, Eli. Can you be a little more serious?
So that was cool. And then he took the main melody, chopped it up even more so that he could have little parts to throw in throughout the beat so that it's always like switching up and stuff. Here's the first part he did. And that paired on top of the main melody sounds like this. So like he just added on to the creepy like horror movie vibe where we have the main melody, which is really low in the frequencies, and then he added this chopped up part that's like high up in the frequencies, so you have a good contrast. And then he also added this part that you probably can't even hear in the actual song. So yeah, it's super quiet, but it added more texture to it, and it's something that you won't really hear, but you'll feel it. So that's all the stuff 95 did with the melody. He also did some automation on the drums throughout the beat, but I'll get to that later. I'm going to go to another interesting part of the beat that we did. We added this wolf howling on the drops to make it go harder. So that came about because we were talking about like wanting to throw in random unexpected stuff in the beats we were making. So somehow a dog barking got brought up. So I was looking up videos on YouTube and I found this one that was called The Alarm Barking of an Alpha Male Wolf in Yellowstone. So I downloaded that video and we chopped it up and chose this wolf howl. And I actually put that in my kit. So if you look in the effects folder, it has some dogs barking and stuff. So that's where that came from. You might have not noticed it at first, but listen back to it and you'll hear it now. So it helped make the drops go harder, and then it just fit with the theme that we were already going for, like creepy horror movie type vibe. We weren't actually going for that, but that's just what it sounds like, Pretty sure that's all the melody stuff. Shout out 95. He went crazy with that and inspired me to use gross beat more and chop up my samples. Then I just added the drums to it, and again, it's pretty simple, but I wanted it to have a good pattern that would be catchy and was just really upbeat. So start with the clap, the most simple, basic. I got it from an A Walker kit. I got some hi-hats also from an A Walker kit. Let's hear that. It's just a 2-step hi-hat, except at the beginning I added another one in there so that it would start off with a triplet, so that when the measures hit on the 1, it already gets it going with a little bounce because there's a triplet to start it off. And then I added 3 more perks. I have 2 open hats. One is longer and then one is like shorter and quicker. And then I also added like a little triangle sound. So once you add those in with the hi-hats and the clap, this is what all that sounds like. So those perks together just make a really good bounce by themselves. I like doing it where I have open hats or little perk sounds right before the clap hits because I feel like it adds a good type of bounce. So that's all I did. I added those perks right before some of the claps and then had some of those short open hats in there. Next, what I normally do is add the kick. I don't remember if I did that first when I made this, but that's what I would normally do. So then we got the kick here added with it. And this is a really simple like trap kick pattern. It really was supposed to just drive the bounce and the flow all the way through the beat. So you can see that I had some double kicks in here and I had like a roll at the end. And with the double kick, something cool you can do is make either the first one or second one quieter so that it feels more like a bounce and a bounce back versus just a double hit. And then the roll at the end. So there's the kick. And then the 808. This was simple. I kind of just had it following the same kick pattern for the most part. And it just looped over and over again. So here's the 808. And then the 808 and the kick together. Yeah, and to be honest, I'm going to let you guys in on a secret about this. These 808s, I figured out after I made the beat that they're actually out of key. But the thing is, the melody, you can't really tell that it's like certain notes playing. It kind of just sounds like an atmosphere in the background. And so the fact that these are technically out of key because I know which notes I played, you can't tell. And it doesn't sound bad. No one would have known. So I like tested around with it and I put them what would be in key, but I just didn't like it as much. So I said, screw it, kept it out of key and thought it went hard. So that's why it's cool if you know music theory, because then you know when you can break the rules. So something I forgot to mention before, I had this simple clap, but then what I did was I also put a snare in here. So throughout the beat, I actually switched back and forth between a clap and a snare. So this is what the snare sounds like. So to make more of a contrast between the clap and the snare, I kept the clap really simple where it was just hitting in the same spot every time. But then when I brought the snare in, as you can see, I added a lot of like accent snares. So like the snares were a lot busier, and then when it would go to the clap, it was back to being simple. So that just helped the beat not be too repetitive. So yeah, now that we got all the drums in here and the melody. Let's hear what it all sounds like together. So there you could hear the clap switch to the snare like I was talking about earlier. So the next thing I want to talk about is when No Big Deal has his line where he says, "We gonna turn the place diagonal," and then I switched the beat up a little bit, made the 808s lower, made it a really sick drop so that it had a really big emphasis on that section. So let me show you what that sounds like and then I'll go into it a bit. So I switched from the clap back to the snare because I thought the snare would sound more aggressive on that part. And as you could hear, I had the 808s like hitting really hard right before it dropped. So what I did was I added this pattern where the 808s are just hitting back to back to back to back, but each time it gets a little bit louder. So it starts out quieter and then you just hear the 808s like coming in hot. And it helps make the drop super dramatic. And then you pair that with the glass sound effect that I put in there, some risers to make it harder. It just comes out super nasty. So yeah, there's that. There's also a part in Jon's verse where it had that switch up. To backtrack back to 1995 again, one of the other automations that he did throughout the beat was he added distortion to the 808s, but only in certain parts. So you probably didn't notice it when you were listening through, but there are parts where the 808 is quieter and then it gets louder. So like just an example right here, I'll show you. So you can see in that second part, it was much more distorted. So that's kind of what's cool about this beat is that when you listen to the song, if it sounds like a fairly simple beat that's running throughout the whole song, but there is so many little details that me and 95 added in there that there's always something small about the beat changing. So even though it sounds similar throughout the whole thing, there's a lot of differences we brought in to switch it up and keep it fresh so that it wasn't literally just like a loop the whole time. And a lot of these little things, like you probably didn't notice all of them until I pointed them all out to you. And now you can listen back and see, oh, I hear that part. I hear that little part, you know. And then like I usually do, I got the acapella from No Big Deal and Jon Keith, threw it in here and then added some post-production stuff. Just like little beat cuts and stuff like that, making sure that I was happy with the beat, how it sounded with their vocals before they sent it to mastering and mixing and all that. So yeah, that is the beat for Holy Smoke by No Big Deal and Jon Keith, Indie Tribe, produced by Wow Eli 1995. I'm also going to be dropping a video on how I produced Clear and Top Down, which are the other two tracks I did on the new Indie Tribe project. I got the first 3 songs on it, so you'll definitely want to check it out. So yeah, stay tuned for the new videos.
Wow, Eli. Can you be a little more serious?